I want to thank President Biden for extending an invitation to me to undertake this state visit, a sign of friendship and partnership and collaboration between two countries that share common values, values of freedom, democracy, rule of law, equality, and inclusivity. We are very proud.
This speech from William Ruto in USA is one of the speeches that is making him as the biggest puppet to the West. Men are seeing him as the biggest puppet to the West because of speeches like this. Now, Ruto was in USA sometimes back in 2024, and he gave out this speech. In the speech he gave, he said that Africa or countries like Kenya, we are sharing common factor with the USA. And he mentioned common factor like freedom, democracy, rule of law, equality, and inclusivity. And this is why there is tension between William Ruto and Ibrahim Traoré. Traoré is anti-Western, is against Western influence, is against pampering the Western countries, is against trying to, to be a puppet. For what reason? Ibrahim Traoré is fighting for the independence, sovereignty of countries. On the other hand, William Ruto is deep into it. Each and everything we do in Kenya, we are depending from a Western power. Now, I want you to listen to this speech of William Ruto in USA. You will know what I'm trying to talk about it. Okay? And then we'll come back and react.
Distinguished guests, the President of the Republic of Kenya.
Thank you. President Joe Biden, Dr. Jill Biden, Madam Vice President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Jambo. Let me take this opportunity in a very special way to bring you warm greetings from the people, the government of Kenya, and your brothers and sisters across the African continent. I want to thank President Biden for extending an invitation to me to undertake this state visit, a sign of friendship and partnership and collaboration between two countries that share common values, values of freedom, democracy, rule of law, equality, and inclusivity. We are very proud democratic nation. And today, as we celebrate our past, we are optimistic about our future. That by undertaking this state visit, we will have the opportunity to discuss and to have a conversation about building global partnership and leadership around the issues that pose challenges regionally, globally, and in countries like Kenya and many others. Challenges of climate change, challenges of insecurity, challenges around debt distress. And today we have an occasion to build synergies, to build partnerships that will not only solve our current problems, but also to build a future that is much more promising, much more prosperous, a fairer, a freer, a healthier, and a much more prosperous future. I am confident Mr. President, that a partnership between the United States of America and Kenya will give us the solutions that the world so seriously needs. And we will be discussing a range of issues from peace and security in our region, recognizing the heavy lifting Kenya is doing in supporting peace and security efforts in the Horn of Africa, in the Great Lakes region. And I want to say, Mr. President, we value the support, the friendship, and the collaboration the United States has given Kenya and our region to make sure that we undertake our responsibilities in securing our region. Mr. President, we will also be having the opportunity to discuss the investment opportunities, trade, and hopefully we will be able to persuade the United States to renew the Africa Growth and Opportunities Act that gives Africa the opportunity for access to markets so that we can create more jobs, we can create more wealth, and we can spread prosperity across our continent. And hopefully also we will conclude on our strategic partnership, on our strategic trade and investment partnership that will give us the opportunity in Kenya to work with companies in the United States and to build greater synergy around our continent on matters to do with trade, investment, especially as we put together the Africa Continental Free Trade Area and twin it with the United States, as we discussed at the Africa Leaders Summit last year, giving us an opportunity to build greater partnership between the continent of Africa and the United States. Mr. President, I know that our menu of discussion is broad and wide, and I am confident that under your leadership, we will be able to build a freer, a healthier, and a much more prosperous Kenya, United States, and for people around the world. Thank you very much.
Welcome back. That was President of Kenya William Ruto in the United States of America 2024 while he visited Joe Biden. I am not sure which business they had together, but that or this is why we as the people or Africans at large are against William Ruto, simply because we see him as a puppet to the West. Everything he is doing, his statements, his rhetoric statements and actions, they speak loud, you know. He took the military to Haiti, which is against a Pan-Africanist. He took Kenya's military to Haiti without knowing what is eating what and who is eating who. Without Kenya having, we didn't have any diplomatic relationship with Haiti. We don't know the problem. But because the USA have told you, take your military to Haiti, you are taking your military there. Yet, USA has military. So it's better for us to have a war between black brothers ourselves instead of them to take their military there, because people will judge them. That's the reason. But apart from that, Ibrahim Traoré agenda is so different from William Ruto agenda and many of African leaders. Because many of African politicians depend on foreign countries, and they don't depend on foreign countries to build Africa. They depend on foreign countries to pretend they are building Africa, but instead those countries are exploiting Africa, and themselves, they are feeding their own stomach. Now, since William Ruto came to power, there's no any single project that can stand out and people to say that this one is good. In under 2 years, Ruto has done this. It has been chaos, lies, everything that is going on under the countries of, or under the nation of William Ruto. There's no positive thing. He will stand here and say that we have reduced prices of commodities. But one thing that made the price of commodities to go up is because of instability in Russia and Ukraine. The war cost a lot on the matters of fuel, and because we are importing from there, we had some, and the prices of fuel rised up. So that was the reason. The reason why price of commodities have gone down is because of the reduction of that war. It's not because William Ruto has done something for the country. Ibrahim Traoré, on the other hand, under 2 years, he has done a lot for the country that is seen. We may be talking, maybe it is social media, maybe it is just stanzas, but people of Burkina Faso cannot lie. We see how the lives of Burkinabe is changing. We see from his rhetoric statements how he's anti-Western, how he's against the Western forces. We see and we hear. One day William Ruto stood and say, that's not good leadership. We want leadership of democracy. And that's why he is in USA. He was in USA and said that we are sharing common value with USA of freedom. Which kind of freedom are we sharing with United States? United States or US are jeopardizing our freedom. They are the one who are making Kenyans not to have, or Africans not to have, this freedom. When you talk about freedom, it's not only about freedom of expression. When you talk about freedom, it's the freedom of owning a property in your land, on your country. It's a freedom of running swift business in your country. It's freedom of choosing who you want as a leader. It's a freedom of calling out the government and the government respond by changing. That's the kind of freedom we want. It's not a freedom because I allow you talking, calling me names, you have freedom. That's not the kind of freedom we are asking. And these terms of freedom, democracy, and all this were brought so that it can close our eyes as Africans. We be here out saying, yeah, your country is good. You guys call your president and you get away with it. That's not enough. Calling a president a name or calling out the things that president are not doing good is not enough. Enough is when he listens to us and act accordingly. I may say Burkina Faso have freedom. Freedom because of what? Whatever they want to be done, it is in continuation. The small-scale farmer are happily farming because Ibrahim Traoré gave them, equipments. They who are working in mining industry, they are smiling because now we have a fast industry in the country. Whoever are planting tomatoes, they are smiling because now we have an industry to process their tomatoes there. That's the kind of freedom. We want to see freedom from actions. We don't want freedom because, you just talk. You guys, you are talking and the president is quiet. That's not freedom we're asking. That term is here to close our eyes to think we are free, but deep down, we are going into high taxes. There's no infrastructure in schools. There's no medicine in hospitals. Then you are telling me freedom. This country, you are saying you have common values with the USA. Which common values do we have with the USA? USA is far away from Kenya, and USA is using Kenya to gain the economic increase. USA is using Kenya to eat. We don't have common values. If we talk about freedom, the USA people, the white Americans, are having good freedom. They're having social health fund that is working. This one of us for Kenya, SHA, you have seen people complaining it is failing. It's a way, it's not working perfectly. When you talk about common values, USA and Kenya, we are totally different. We don't share any. Education in USA, the infrastructure in school is perfect. Come and look at our school here. Which kind of common value are we sharing? When you talk about democracy, that we share common value of democracy, Kenya has not have democracy. Democracy is just a term that is being used to help them to do what they want to do. If we talk about democracy, we have freedom to choose who we want to choose. And if we have that freedom as Kenyans, that means that we could not have wars of after election violence since 2007. We don't have democracy. We don't share common values. And this is what Ibrahim Traoré is against of. Sweetening your words when you're meeting the Western people, when you're meeting the colonizers and the imperialists, shaking their hands gently because you want to be seen as a good one, being a puppet to them. You're saying we share rule of law. We have abduction going on across Kenya. Which rule of law are we sharing? Equality and inclusivity. When I see in the members of parliament, not parliament, ministries, our government officials, all of them are the friends of the president, or someone giving out political favors. So we don't share any common values with the USA. So this speech that William Ruto gave in USA, it was speech from his own mind, but it's not the people of Kenya. We don't think that way. Or Africans at large, we don't think that way. And that's why we are saying there's a rotation between William Ruto and Ibrahim Traoré. Ibrahim Traoré is doing what he's doing according to his agenda, but William Ruto is far opposite on what Ibrahim Traoré is fighting for. And that's why they cannot look eye to eye. First, Ruto is not in support of that coup d'etat that happened. Of course, even me, I'm not in support, but it's not a coup, it was a revolution. Ibrahim Traoré is against Western, but William Ruto is so close to the West people. When he breathes the air from the West. Our countries is full of Western aid, IMF and World Bank. They have us on their back. They are carrying us everywhere and chained us. We cannot do anything because we are in the deep shit of these debts that were brought to us. We depend on everything, starting from agriculture, where we are importing maize from Tanzania. We are importing other projects, foods like GMOs foods, and yet Kenya is a rich country with large tract masses of land where we can do our own agriculture. They can improvise and improve our agriculture here. What are you telling me, William Ruto? You are telling me that we as Kenya, we cannot stand for ourselves. Africans cannot stand for ourselves. That we need to depend from foreign powers. That's what you're trying to say. But all alone, that's my own views. Maybe you have your own views. Maybe William Ruto is doing great by aligning himself with the Western powers. But this is not the agenda of a Pan-Africanist. Agenda of a Pan-Africanist is to do away with neocolonialism. Agenda of a Pan-Africanist is to liberate Africa, is to stop exploitation. But exploitation is going on every day in countries that are being or are supporting Western powers. This speech tells a lot. If you know more about politics and you know what you want for the African countries, this cannot be the speech that President should be giving in the Western powers. By the way, USA, France, Belgium, those high colonies that colonized Africa, they are still reaping from Africa up to now. And you can't stop them. When you stop them, they will lose your interest in you. They will succumb you. You'll be no more there. But I don't know. What do you think? Tell me in the comment section. Until next episode, peace be with you.